Maybe I'm thinking more of the other question that I had for you, which was, what do you want to believe in?
Oh, okay. It's a good question. Let me look at my notes here.
Yeah, I'll expand on.
All right, perfect.
What my answer is for it. What I want to believe, I would like to believe that things happen for a reason.
Okay.
I don't really believe that they do at this point.
Okay.
But wouldn't that be nice if like everything actually meant something?
It would be, definitely. It'd be a little bit easier to know.
It would just feel better. It would just feel good. Like I'm still living like everything matters to me. I mean, things do matter to me. I don't think like, oh, everything is nothing. Fuck everyone. I don't care about anyone. But it's, back to that objective bullshit that I'm always going on about. I would like to think, and sometimes, things lead up where it's like, oh, all these events just lined up so perfectly, and now I'm here, and it had to mean something. But does it? I don't know. Is that just me trying to make some sort of, or trying to give some sort of meaning to what's happening to me just because I'm the one experiencing it? So, it must matter because this is me, and I've always been here. I've always been this person. Why am I here?
I think it's both.
You think it's both?
Yes.
How so?
I think it's both because I think it's both because if you want it to mean something, then it does mean something. And if it doesn't actually, objectively mean anything, I mean, it depends on who's determining it. I'm all about this like whole writing your own narrative thing. At least that's the point in my life I am. But I think we talked about that in the last one when Tony was on about, gosh darn it, I'm forgetting what the fancy term is to describe it.
What, objective morality?
Nihilism? Nihilism,
yeah.
Thank you.
That's represent.
Well, I think that's a good portion, at least my understanding of nihilism is that like there is no meaning, but you're supposed to create it and obtain it.
Right.
And when you talk about like, oh, all these events occurred, I'd say that at least the way I was trained as a therapist and like the way that I try to live my life sometimes is that like if we just occasionally choose to look at those things as if something does happen for a reason, okay, it doesn't really hurt anything for the most part. Because if we could visualize that with like it doesn't really hurt anything with an asterisk.
So you're thinking of it pragmatically.
Yeah, I guess so.
As in like what is true is what is good. Like it's the best way to go about it. That's my understanding of pragmatism.
I don't know. We're combining nihilism and pragmatism right now.
Well, I'm saying that you're looking at it through, and almost like the way, nihilists will be like, oh, create your own meaning because there is none.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a pragmatic way of dealing with your existence.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Then it makes sense pragmatically.
Yeah.
And even if as long as it's not hurting another person, then I don't think or a group of people, then I think it's for the most part okay. Determining whether it's hurting people or not as a whole.
How would you think it would hurt people? You have an example of what you're thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, like an example, for some reason, everything goes political recently, so I'll try to think of a non-political reason.
You can use whatever. It's all good.
What's that?
You can use whatever example you want.
I mean, like, Puerto Rico right now is in a state of literal disarray, and it's a disaster. It is in disaster relief, and FEMA and all the other national agencies that help with disaster relief, it's like their go-to. It's what they exist for as organizations, okay? Mm-hmm. So one could look at, and then to respond to that, there's not a lot going on that's helping them. There is, but not as far as the government, at least from what the media is sharing with us. So I don't want to come off like this pompous, like, no one's helping Puerto Rico, right? Although a lot of things are suggesting that the government and our president are not doing any things, and that Elon Musk is doing stuff behind the scenes to provide them, yada, yada. But anyways, so you can look at this situation and you can say, well, maybe the hurricane was supposed to hit there. Maybe it happened for a reason.
Oh, okay.
Which it's okay if you believe that, because you know what? If you're one of the survivors there right now who's trying to rebuild, how does it not help to think about it like this was supposed to happen, now it's up to us to rebuild it? Although, if everyone else in our country or our government right now, or even, us sitting here in the Chicagoland so far away from Puerto Rico, because the only time I hear about these things is when it's like, on Reddit or through the news.
Sure.
it's not okay if we believe, oh, that was supposed to happen for a reason, and that justifies us not supplying resources and needs to solve it.
Okay.
I connected it there, right?
Yes, I see exactly what you're saying now. Yeah, because that's the fucked up part about thinking like, oh, everything happens for a reason. Why do children get raped? Why do people starve to death? Like, why does this crazy fucking shit happen then?
Yeah.
There's some horrible things going on
all the time, every day, right
Sure.
now, probably.
I'm sure somewhere.
But does it happen for a reason? Like I know we went off a little bit here, but I think whether it happens for a reason or not is like in the eye of the beholder.
Sure. Man, went dark with that. Kurt, what do you want to believe in?
Right? What do I want to believe in? I won't piggyback too much off that, but I'll say I want to believe in everything happens for a reason, and I do choose to do it sometimes, at least in my own life. What else do I want to believe in? I said, let me look at my notes, and I didn't write anything down, which is great, because I think I felt like even the answers are right there. I want to believe in a brighter future for people, and I can give other examples in a moment, but another thing I want to believe in is the fact that we're all born good. Right.
Oh, inherently?
Yeah, inherently.
good?
I want to believe in that. I don't believe in it. I
Would
think
that make it better,
learn.
though, if we were? Because then there's so many fuckers out there, man.
I mean,
Wouldn't it be better to just think that we're born, like, inherently bad, and then we pull the people out of it through...
yeah, I'm picturing like a bunch of people falling off of it, like a bunch of mud, and you're just like as a team pulling, like it's like a Tough Mudder, and people are pulling them out together.
Man, it's cool.
Yeah, and
We got some stuff for you over here.
I think that's what it is, though. If we're talking about truth, yeah, I mean, I think that we are not born inherently good. I think we're inherently born neutral or bad or worse.
Sure.
And it's up to us to change that. But that adds to the ever long list of responsibility we have as human beings, as far as like practicing whatever it is that we're trying to get better at and acting upon discipline.
It's good that you said that, because I was actually thinking about that today, because remember what we were talking about last time where you said something about you were on that medication and you were like driving and you were like, I could just drive like right into oncoming traffic or something.
Yeah.
Like I could do that. I was thinking about, I was having thoughts, not that crazy, but like, not that that's crazy. I mean, everybody has like a fucked up thought like that from time to time. But like I will like look in someone's face and just think like, I could just, like I would never do this, but I could just say something so offensive to you, like a coworker or something, and just be like, I could just fuck up my whole job and everything just by saying like 3 words.
3 words, yeah, you're right. It could be
like
over with.
Anything. I have, and you just think in your head like, oh, I have the power to do this, like, or I have the choice to do this. Why don't I do it though? Is that because of, like, as much as people want to say like our culture is fucked up, and it is, like it's not perfect at all, but I mean, we live during like the most peaceful time in history, like around the world,
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Like, maybe we're on the way to something good. I mean, we've definitely come out of some dark fucking ages. Maybe we're heading back towards them. I don't know, with North Korea and all this shit, whatever. But like, is just culture and society just a tool that pulls people, neutral-born people, into a collective group that gives you a reason not to act on those negative thoughts and you get rewarded?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think that's true. I think
even though if you want to think of it in a really negative way, like we're just like brainwashing like neutral slates to be like, oh, come down our street. Yeah. Get in our van. But
oh, goodness.
The greater good. But I had that thought today, actually. So that's weird that you brought that up. How do you feel about that?
Which part of that?
That whole thing.
That whole thing was
that whole thing.
Like your stream of thoughts.
I had some thoughts where I was just like, and it reminded me of our last conversation where it was like, oh yeah, sometimes you do have just like some horrible thoughts. You just think shitty things.
Okay.
Like, everyone has those pop in there. It's just like, oh, I just could say something horrible to you right now, or I could do this, or I could do that, and what causes me not to act on that?
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'll be rewarded.
Because what?
I'll be rewarded.
You'll be rewarded. Yeah.
Because I get to live in society and I get to have my own apartment and my cat and my car and
you get all these things and these other concepts of how you live your life, which could be attributed to like a thing.
And it's solely based on my upbringing and the society that the people that brought me up were brought up, and that echoes back through history.
Good word, echoes back to history. I feel like I'm seeing like a pitchfork hit and just like the sound, like being able to visualize the sound kind of ringing off, but instead it's going through the centuries. Mm-hmm. It's like, it was just a cool little visualization. Yeah. I do have an answer for you though.
Cool. I'm ready for it.
Yeah. So at the very core of it, I think it's the matter of like when we don't say those things, or when we choose to just quiet those thoughts down and instead maybe replace them with other thoughts. We could be thinking something horrible at someone and still be able to contribute in the conversation and allow everyone to perceive it as you being a positive individual, but realistically you're having this like horrible thoughts.
And you're just like stone face, or like nobody would know what you're thinking. No one knows what you're going through.
Agree.
Or what you're thinking or plotting or scheming if you're insane.
And I think what keeps us from saying it is, like society as a whole, I think is like, or as a concept, the fact that we all agree that like, it's at least my understanding of it is at some point in history, we all agreed consciously or unconsciously as human beings that it makes more sense for us to work together than to work individually, because it's for self-preservation or for the greater good.
Right.
So there's that part of it. So socially it makes sense. Morally it makes sense. But morals goes down a whole nother rabbit hole of like, you could define morals however they are, but the reason they're morals and ethics is because they're not supposed to be black and white or all or nothing. But culturally, coming from someone who has been considered themselves at the very least agnostic since the age of 14, grew up in the Chicagoland in America, which there's a joke, I don't know if you've ever heard about America's culture. It says if you leave a yogurt out for 100 days and you have a country for 100 days, or you have America for 100 days, by the time it gets done with it, however the joke goes.
One has culture, one doesn't.
One has culture and one doesn't. Yeah. Yes, thank you.
But how do you define culture at that point for that
You're
joke?
right, though. Traditions, I think, is a part of culture, which is also a part of religion. Practices is another part of culture. World views or lenses, the way that the world is perceived. Once again, I think my example always goes back to like Catholicism, because that's the way I was raised, even though I don't practice it anymore, and I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum with it.
Yeah, I came from Christianity too. 18 years.
18 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that a lot of times we go through it and think like, okay, where Catholicism is the idea that we're all sinners, and it's up to us to not be sinners anymore, even though we're going to be sinners.
So they have the view that, yeah. So is that where your view comes from, that everyone's born neutral or bad?
That's a good point. It probably does. I've got
some rooted thoughts that are based in Christianity, just because, my formative years were just every Sunday.
Yeah. And I see the point of it. I see the point of religion. I see the point of Catholicism.
There's useful things in it. It's been co-opted by fucking people that wanted to control people, I feel like.
Which I think will happen to any organization or any system.
Like communism.
Always. It will always happen.
Yeah. People can't be trusted with power.
No.
Humans can't. Can machines, though? I don't know. I don't know.
It would probably put into question our culture and religion. But, yeah. I don't know if I answered your question fully.
I just wanted to know what you thought of it.
Yeah. It's helpful. It's beneficial.
It's not perfect, though. I'm never going to say it's perfect, but I feel like how you said you want to think we're all working towards something better. Aren't we, in a way? There's everything's... If you want to look at it like super negatively, shit's fucked up. You can find whatever you're looking for, you're going to find.
Yes.
If you think that everything's fucked up, then all you're going to see is how fucked up everything is.
And things are actually, like you said, things are actually really much better off than they were 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And you continue going back in history, and it continually gets worse and worse for the most part.
More violent,
depending on what part of the world you're in as well, too.
Even the world collectively, though.
Yeah.
I think the stats show that I mean, I guess somebody can fact check me. But I've heard it spouted that we live in the most peaceful times in the world.
I don't know. It sounds kind of cool. I want to believe in it.
Yeah. Whoa. Full circle. But I guess you could also look at it. I was thinking while you were talking there, like, I was thinking more on what keeps me from, like, if you want to come from the negative aspect, what keeps me from acting on, like, these negative emotions and thoughts. You know, oh, I could say something just to make this person cry right now. But why would I do that? You could also say that we're like, they use fear of repercussions to keep us in line too.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I like to think of it as like you get rewarded. You get to be part of society. You get to have someone be your friend, you know, like by being kind to them.
Okay.
Or someone love you by being nice to them and being good to them, you know.
I think it's true too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can fight all we want. When we're human beings, we all have feelings.
Yeah.
I'm reading a really intense book about someone who, it was the Confessions of a Sociopath. This individual who had clearly enough money to travel the world and try to have numerous psychologists and medical doctors and anyone who does testings of the brain to find out if they were sociopathic or not, or psychopathic. However, it's defined. They did a really good job.
I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah, I try to use sociopath because I like the way they define it, basically. But what the one of the chapters basically said, like, even a sociopath, someone who has, like, you know, complete blind rage, really does not care for anybody else other than themselves, totally selfish, still experiences an emotion. And it still experiences a range of emotions. It's just they're able to literally, like, flip a switch in their brain whether they want to feel it or not.
They have choice, or
that's what the sociopath who wrote this book claimed.
That person had choice, at least.
Yes.
That's weird.
It is weird.
So then that's kind of like what I was saying before. When I stare into someone's eyes and it's like I could say something right now that could either make you cry or make you, like, want to hug me or just make you indifferent.
Yeah.
I have the choice to do that. And the switch is in my head more often than not, or like all the time, I would like to think, is flipped towards let's do the positive thing or the neutral thing, or maybe if I'm in a pissy mood, like maybe I'll say something passive aggressive.
Okay. I think you helped me kind of gather my thoughts a little bit to what I think I want to believe in more too.
And what is that? That
it's mutually beneficial to just be positive than negative.
Expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, so my examples, I mean, they tend to be pretty narrow recently, I'm noticing.
That's fine.
From my personal experience, but like anybody who plays any sport, I'll go a little broader here rather than more specifically to me. Especially if it is, even if it's not a team sport, actually. So I'm going to use disc golf again, which is my example. For anyone who doesn't disc golf, it's almost the same setup as regular ball golf. Okay. And then if you have a positive attitude towards yourself and you spread that to the rest of the group, whoever's on your card, okay, there's usually 4 people on a card, you know, you and 3 other people. If somebody has a shit shot, somebody misses a really big putt, you know, they throw their putter at the basket and it hits it, instead of being, 15 feet away like they were initially, they're 40 feet away because it rolled down a hill. Yeah. If afterwards you decide and you make that choice, that flip of the switch in your head, to be positive to them and to try to promote like some good vibes, however you want to call it, I think it's mutually beneficial. Because if you just don't say anything to them or be like, that was a shit shot, maybe sometimes it's okay to be like that. But if everyone on the card is kind of just like, oh, whatever, we're all not going to play up to our competition. We're all not going to play as well. And like, I would like to say that I've tested this when I think I have, but not like in a total experimental setting. But I've tried to just not say anything, or if I didn't feel like saying anything, or if I was just like negative, I don't play as well as I could as if I was playing with other people who were, first off, playing better, and secondly, who are more positive. So I think it's more mutually beneficial, and I want to believe in that it's mutually beneficial to be positive to the people around you, because in turn, they're going to give that positivity back to you. You're more likely to get positive stuff than negative stuff.
Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Tony Robbins lately.
Okay.
Do you know who he is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's real big into, he draws a lot of his stuff. Yeah, he's real good, real cool. I don't know much of his stuff, but.
You would he says a lot of shit, like expanding on what you just said. And he also has this thing about where you have to go into things with certainty. I've been trying to use that a lot.
Okay.
Because say like, I've been thinking of a good example. He doesn't say this, but a good example of it would be like, okay, say like I drew like two lines down a sidewalk or something, and it's like 1.5 feet wide. And I said, okay, just walk within these lines. That's fucking easy. You can do that without thinking about it. It's not like 1.5 feet wide. Just stay within that and don't step outside.
Unless you're absolutely shit-faced drunk.
Right,
You're
exactly.
right.
You're sober. You're good.
99% of the time, it's going to be easy.
You're certain. You can walk across that. You're just fine. Now say I put a board that is 1.5 feet wide across 2 skyscrapers.
Okay.
And there's nothing to catch you. And you got to walk across that board to get to the other skyscraper. And if you fall, you're dead.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot harder, don't you think? Because you'd be like, fuck, dude, the stakes are high. But if you walked across there with the same certainty that you walked down the fucking sidewalk, you'd be fine.
Okay, now I hear the Tony Robbins coming out for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I've listened to enough of his stuff to see. That's a great example.
I've been thinking about that, listening to his shit lately. It's like, dude, because that's an easy thing to do. But if you saw on each side of you, I mean, there would be a physical aspect, like if you have vertigo or like just looking down, you'd be like, holy shit. But if you just looked straight and just walked, you'd be fine.
You walk with that same amount of certainty. Just expecting yourself to do it. Yeah.
You're like, I know I can do that. And just walk. Stay calm and cool and just fucking do it. I've been trying to do that with everything. Like my band played a show on Saturday, and I get nervous before we play and shit. Mm-hmm. And my bass player, we were like standing there. I was feeling pretty good. I mean, I had some alcohol, but
it calms you down.
Oh hell yeah.
Okay.
We were chilling, and we were about to play, and my bass player said something about like, "Oh man, I just took a shot. I don't know. I might fuck up a little bit." I was like, "Jack, go up there with certainty." Okay. You're nailing it, dude. It's about your mind, your state of mind.
How did he play?
I don't know. I couldn't hear him. He might have fucked up the whole thing. We didn't have monitors or anything. But you know what? He was better off. It was pragmatic if he actually listened to my advice.
That's so funny.
To go up there and have a little bit of certainty.
I totally agree with you. I think that's. I mean, like I feel more positive. Just you. I mean, I don't know if I'm just contributing to our point here, but. I feel more certain. I feel like I even sat up straighter. Yeah. Not only hearing your like.
We'll check the video evidence later. I'll edit it back and forth how you were like sitting before. Now you're
baseball slow mo.
You can get right out of that wheelchair if you wanted to.
You just gotta be certain about it.
Yeah. Come on, Stephen Hawking, you bitch. Get up, you dumbass.
Oh my God, mind over matter.
God, ooh, math. I can walk. No.
Oh, speaking of math, no, I'm kidding.
But yeah, I ripped that off of Tony Robbins, but
it's a good example though, and I think that you contributed there to my point about playing on a car like a disc golf card with someone and
keeping the vibe up.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing as what Tony's talking about and what you're talking about with your example. Mm-hmm. It's good as long as you walk into it with certainty. And I think there's another part to it too, at least the way I'm trying to lead my life right now, is there's also some curiosity that comes with it. Certainty and curiosity. If we can come up with another C, we can trademark it, bam, we can take over Tony Robbins' market.
Ooh,
but
we'd probably have to kill him first. He's a big guy too. I wouldn't want to fight him.
No.
I wouldn't want to fight him either. He's just a nice guy. I'd like to give him a hug, maybe.
But I try to take some curiosity towards it too, because life is super weird and it's super extraordinary, and unless you like bottle yourself into your, unless you live in a 1-bedroom apartment by yourself and all you do is binge watch old movies and TVs, then you're not going to be able to experience the true curiosity and extraordinary sense of the world around you. You probably will no matter what either way to some extent, but not.
But you're staying in that comfortable, never getting outside of your comfort zone.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Get the fuck out of your comfort zone, dude. That's what I've been doing this last year. It's been the best year of my life.
Has it?
Oh, hell yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's just been, you can ask Tony. I lived with him for like 7 months, so he got to hear every detail of it. It was exciting and crazy, good and bad. But you have to find an enjoyment of the bad times too, because that's part of the curiosity. In order to get outside of or a side effect of getting out of your comfort zone is failing and maybe getting your feelings hurt, you know, getting rejected a little bit and shit like that. But if you're not, that's why that shit is awesome. It's a side effect of trying new shit, getting out there.
Which is hard to do if you're having some level of anxiety, though.
Oh, hell yeah. Jesus Christ.
And if anything, I think a part of me wants to say, so going back to the original question and how I can apply this here, what do I believe in? What do I believe when it comes to how much anxiety can impact, like, you experiencing the highs and lows of being curious? I think that there's a part of it that's like, you know what, you're gonna enjoy it that much more, because if you were able to get up on stage, even though you've been terrified your whole life, or even terrified up into that moment, you still went up there and did it. I think you're gonna be so pumped about it that it's gonna be so much more worthwhile. Or on the other side, someone can play devil's advocate and they could say, well, if you're so anxious, you go up there and you do it and you get done, you're like, wow, I did that. How present were you during that moment if you were just anxious the whole time, kind of going through the motions?
Who cares? You still did it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why does it matter if you were present or not?
That's just the avenue I'm trying to go down in my life. I think I've taken my anxiety that has been like, it kept me back so long in grade school that when I went to high school, I made this like definitive choice. I was like, you know what, I'm sick of having this anxiety control me. I'm just going to change. And it was like your example of the last year was, my first 2 years of high school were fantastic. Yes, I got picked on sometimes. Yes, there was good and bad times. Yes, there were scary times, but overtly, that's like you said, it doesn't matter because at least I did it.
Yeah.
I went ahead and did it. I'm at the point in my life where I think I can try to take it to the next level. And that next level for me would be to overcome that anxiety and also be present in the moment.
So how were you not present in the moment?
In high school?
Sure.
In that time?
Or just like any example of that? I want to know what you're talking about here.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because I could understand that, like me, like I'll like get drunk and do something, and it's like, was I present? Not really.
I guess part of it would be like, how much do I remember of the moment? And when I say that, I mean, like, if I can think back to when I was, 3 years ago, when I was 22 years old, can I think back? Do I have like a visual memory of a certain event, and how well do I remember that memory? That to me makes me believe that I was really present for it, for the most part. But I would, to give you a more specific example, would be like being present in the moment. Did I just do it to do it? Did I perform the task just to say I did it, or did I perform the task because of the task?
So you're worried about your intent then?
Yeah.
So that's an aspect to you.
Mm-hmm.
Intent.
Yes. What's my intention of it?
Yeah.
Do my actions?
Intention is important.
Yeah.
Because you can, like the famous Sam Harris example is like, somebody could stab you because they're trying to rob you, or somebody could be helping you cook a meal and slip on something and accidentally stab you with a knife while they're walking to the sink.
Yeah.
Intent matters, because you're not going to...
It's a good point. You're not going to go into court and be like, well, it'll be a stabbing thing and it'll be a robbing thing, it'd be like attempted murder and attempted robbery.
Right, he was trying to kill you, but your friend that was helping you cook just slipped. It was an accident.
Yeah, so you're right, I guess. I see what you're saying with intention. That's a good point.
That's an aspect of your definition of being present. Being present
and being curious. Yeah, do you have intentional... Yeah, there's a fancier way to describe it.
But isn't like... Couldn't you... say that if you did something and you just kind of did it because you just did it and you weren't really present in the moment, could you say that was your intuition?
Yeah, you could.
And what's wrong with that?
I guess there's nothing wrong with it.
You just intuitively did it. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong, unless you're doing something shitty intuitively.
I think that's the point too. Is you're supposed to be able to train yourself to be intuitive more often than not. I think.
Can you train yourself for that?
I think so, a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's like partially muscle memory. I don't think we can be making conscious decisions of our choice and making choices about our behavior every single second of the day. We're going to have some natural reaction. And when I say natural, I mean
reactive. Like a reflex. Like someone says something snotty to you, you could just be like, you know what, have a good day, man. I love you.
So, okay, yeah, this is interesting.
You don't have to say I love you. I don't know why I even laughed when I said that. Don't say I love you.
It did throw me off.
That sounds a little like condescending, like...
What is something that I believe in is I want to believe in, and I think I still do, at least at this point in my life, that we can shape that. We can shape what our reaction's going to be. We can shape our intentions to the point where it's almost intuitive. Like where it becomes intuitive to immediately be... If you're generally... I'm trying to think of a negative or positive response. Do you have an example here?
Like even today I was at work, just a simple, like mundane example, but someone that I didn't know worked at the place that I work at was like, oh, can you open up this door for me? They're rooms that are rented. And I just said, oh, do you have a meeting booked in there? Because I didn't see anything on the schedule. And she was like, I work here. Like kind of bitchy. And it was just like, I could have been like, okay. I could have been snotty back to her, but I was just like, all right.
Yeah. So would you normally have been like, all right? Or
I think so lately, but I think at certain times in my life I could have been like, I've never seen you before. Why would I know that?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
I could have said something snotty and shitty.
Did you have to think about that? About whether you?
I think there was a split second of thought where I was kind of almost like, damn, bitch, calm the fuck down. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't that big. It might not be the best example, but just somebody saying something shitty to you, and you have reflexively you could be like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Or just anything snotty.
I think it's a great example.
All right, perfect.
I really do.
That's what came to mind.
Because you're saying at some point in your life that you're openly admitting that like you just didn't have as much of a regulation of your emotions or like control over them.
It was really quick. Like I kept it cool. I was just like, all right, cool.
But something changed since like that. That moment was something that not how you would have maybe acted years ago.
Right. I think I've gotten better. But even now I'm at the point where later I was like, fuck you, bitch. Like I was like walking around the building, like doing one of my, things that I have to do. And I was just kind of thinking like, do you ever like talk, like have a conversation with someone after they're not even there?
Yeah, all the time. More often than I should, unfortunately.
Like, how the fuck did I know you work here, you bitch? I don't fucking know,
Because like walking down the street, walking the dog first thing in the morning, like, I don't know, mama. The neighbor, yeah.
Yeah, I was doing that, and now I'm at the point where it's like, why am I doing that? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter.
No.
Who cares why she was a little snotty? It doesn't fucking matter. Like, now I feel like I'm doing better, because now I'm at the point where it's like, now I'm thinking, like, that's the reflex.
What's the reflex?
Me having that conversation with myself after saying fuck you to her, to myself, and putting a negative vibe in my head after, and I wasn't even rude to her.
Okay.
Now I've gotten to the point where it's like I need to solve that problem to where I don't even give a shit, dude. If somebody wants to throw some negative vibes my way, whatever, man, that's your problem. I've done that shit before too. I get it, man. It's all good. I hope you feel better.
I think your example's, like, I'm going to say it again, I think it's a much better example than you thought. Because what you're doing is you're identifying those thought patterns, maybe, that you intuitively give into.
Yeah.
Or that just determine a lot of your behavior. And you're just saying that, I hope to someday get to the point where I can, have my reflex be not even to the point where you're having that conversation with yourself later, that the conversation never even occurs. And not only that, but the thought never even occurs where you're like, what the hell, bitch? Like, what was that?
Right, yeah, like where I get defensive. Why would I get defensive over that? It doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter. Not only does it not matter, it probably wasn't directed at you. Like, that's their issue.
Something I actually learned when I worked at Walgreens. Something awesome that I learned here. My manager came up to me and he said, sometimes we all deal with difficult customers, And I was like, yeah. And he's like, try to treat everyone like they just got diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
Because if I just got diagnosed with cancer, I might be a little snippy with a cashier. Who knows? And who cares? If you like treat people like that, like with some compassion, just a baseline. I get it, man. We all feel, we all get pissy. Mm-hmm. It's all good. I'm not gonna fault you for it. That's such a good pragmatic way to fucking act.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
And you'll have your times where you can't act upon those, but I think if you can treat yourself the same way you treat individuals who may or may not have just been diagnosed with cancer, if you can treat yourself that same way, then I think it's just gonna become like a intuitive, reflexive cycle of positivity.
It's gonna be most dope fucking habit you can ever force upon yourself.
Yes, it is, and that's what I'm talking about.
So that's what you're saying. You're saying that you make positive intuition a habit.
Yeah. And you try to, and you work towards almost everything you do or everything you say with some level of intention.
Yeah.
And it's between you and I. I mean, I don't know. I'm not at the point. Like, it's impossible to achieve
Perfection.
Exactly.
Well, perfection doesn't exist.
So yeah, exactly. But it's not. Or what's the other way? It's not impossible. It's improbable. Is that the way to go about it?
Sure.
It doesn't matter.
Think it's at least pragmatic, to bring that fucking word back.
It's your word today.
Yeah, I guess. To act as if you could achieve perfection. So keep working for it.
Yeah, and keep working for it. And it will eventually get to the point where it's a reflex or intuition. You're going to have your slip-ups, but the more and more you're okay with your slip-ups and failing, like you said before, talking about being okay with failing and being okay with making mistakes, the less and less they'll happen.
I think I came up with a good, like, I don't know if I want to call it a mantra, but like something where we're saying you're not going to be perfect, but work towards to keep getting better and better. I think a good way to a good mantra to have, I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, is to say,
I'll Google it later.
Yeah. Okay, so if you could, this is probably not a mantra. It's just a way of thinking. Live in such a way that if you could talk to your former self, the first thing that you would honestly, you would say, I'm doing the things that you weren't able to do.
Ooh.
Think about that.
You gave me the chills, actually, a little bit. That's cool, actually. Not that I didn't expect you to say something pretty insightful, but Yeah, so I'm going to repeat it real quick to make sure I heard you correctly. You should try to...
Live in such a way.
Live in such a way. Okay, that's the connection I was missing. So live in such a way where if you were to speak to your former self, you can honestly open...
That you would. The first thing you would think to say is
I'm doing the things that you weren't able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that means you're progressing.
Yeah.
And I think that comes along perfectly with that intuition thing you were saying, which I never thought of, that you could maybe train yourself to be more positively intuitive, because intuition sounds, to me at least, it sounds like a positive thing.
Yeah.
It could be a negative thing too.
Oh, it absolutely could be both.
Your intuition, or maybe I don't know what the definition of intuition is, but I guess I'm kind of defining it as like
the gut feeling,
the way you react to things. Yeah, like what you would do when you're having like an automatic, when you're not thinking, you're just acting responsively.
Yeah, it's like your primal instinct.
Yeah.
So the question for the audience here is like, what are you able to right now in your life, honestly, and if not honestly, for the most part, speak out to your former self and say, I'm doing the things you couldn't do before. Mm-hmm. And if you aren't, maybe it's time to change.
Take the fucking steps. Take responsibility.
Yeah.
That's another thing that people need to take responsibility.
That's a fucking difficult thing to do.
Oh, it totally is. But it's the most noble thing you can do.
It absolutely is.
Take responsibility. And here, I was thinking about this the other day. I was talking with a friend who he was just telling me he's definitely had a hard life. And I don't even know this guy that well. And he was just telling me some heavy shit just about his family, and his ex-girlfriend is just after him. And he's just in a rough spot. And I was like, dude, you're not like... The situation that you're in right now is not your fault, but you not pulling yourself out of it will be your fault.
Agreed.
Like, you have to take responsibility. Like, yeah, you can sit there and blame everyone else, or blame another person, or blame society, or blame whatever, but that's not gonna help you. The most tactful thing for you to do is just plan out some steps for you to get out of this situation so you can be happy. No one's going to do it for you.
No.
And no one has that obligation.
No one has that obligation. I don't think there's maybe a profession that's supposed to do that for you either.
No.
So
nor should there be.
It's terrifying to think that that's literally solely up to you. but I think it's
I mean, people will help you if people see that you genuinely need help. I don't think that people are born inherently good, but I think that most people learn to be. I think most people want to help people on some level, or at least maybe that's what I want to believe. Maybe it's not true, but I feel like
I think people do. Society don't.
I think
that was a horrible sentence, but
yeah, maybe. I think that people that have helped people. Once you help someone, then you want to help people more.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. At least if you have the right attitude about it. Because, man, have you ever volunteered your time or, like, gotten a good experience just from helping people?
Yeah.
It's dope. Like, and when it comes to anxiety, that's one of the best cures for anxiety right there. Go out and fucking help someone. You cannot feel bad about yourself when you just want to. You can't.
You're right. You really got to dig for something to be like, well, I don't know if it actually made a difference.
Right.
But.
Oh, yeah. Then it's just shut the fuck up. Shut up.
Yeah.
That is one of the best cures for having some, like, anxious shit. Like, how can you feel bad about yourself when you're helping, like, homeless people or, you know, I mean, some people that really fucking need it.
Yeah, people who are at, like, the lower ends of functioning and then particularly also, like, at some of like the darkest times that they may experience in their life.
Right. And
homeless is a good example.
They don't necessarily have to be like a homeless person or something. Anybody, you know when someone needs help.
Yeah.
You know when someone wants help too.
Think so?
Maybe you don't. Because some people don't want help. They just want like sympathy and...
Which is okay sometimes.
But they need help. But it's hard to help those kinds of people. And you probably know about this because you're a fucking therapist.
No, you're right. That's why I have to give some of the credit to my question to you there of like, do you know when someone wants help?
Yeah, I didn't.
Due to being that, and my funny enough, my like short-lived experience of working with the homeless population for a little bit, at least volunteering, is like, do you know when someone wants help or not? I think you do. A lot of people do really put off some vibe or behavior or thought that says like, I want help. But
and also
some
people that they're willing to take the steps to help themselves. Mm-hmm. That's how you know when they want it. Somebody that keeps asking for it, but they won't take any advice. They'll just take handouts.
So you think they want help then? Or
no, those are the people that don't want help. People that are going to take the steps, those are the people that want help. Somebody that wants to pick themselves up. Mm-hmm. There's other people that want people to just drag them through life. You know, they'll just lay down. Just come on. I don't want to do it. I don't want to get up. Get up.
Man. So do you think that and I'm just coming off the spark here, but do you think there are people in the world that want to be the individual dragging someone else through the rest of their world? And to specify that so it's not such a convoluted question is we're basing the assumption that there are people who just don't want to help, to take ownership, to take responsibility for their actions, behaviors. They want, you know, as like the stereotypical description is, they want mama to take care of them throughout their whole life. Well, is there individuals, and I'm thinking in particularly with partnerships here, are there individuals who
like romantic partnerships?
Yeah, romantic partnerships. I'm thinking. Good. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
That. Are there individuals who enter into like significant, intimate partner relationships that actually want to they like the role, they like playing the hero of helping drag someone through the mud, not pushing them in the mud, but helping them kind of get through it?
I think so. I think I can think of a person off the top of my head. I'm not going to fucking name that person or give any details, but I think that those people do exist. There should be a word for people like that. I think
should be a word.
There aren't enough words. We need to be able to fucking specify things like that so we can diagnose it and we can slap these people. But at that point, it's like
diagnosis blank, treatment slapping.
It's these people. They have good hearts.
They do.
Yeah, but they're being taken advantage of.
They're being taken advantage of, and they're also missing, I don't know. There's all kinds of ways you can...
They're not helping the people.
They're not. That's the thing, is they're so...
I think that a lot of those relationships are either it's some sort of parent-child relationship.
It could be, yeah. They're like reliving that to some extent.
But it's not... I feel like I've seen that more common, like what you're talking about, like you say there's like a person like on a romantic level. I feel like it's more common that like a parent will treat a child like that.
Got you. Okay, you're talking about okay, you're not talking about an individual reliving the parent-child dynamic with their partner. You're talking about a parent literally treating their child that way.
Where they always want them to be sick so they can always like take care of them, or not even that they want them to be sick, but that they just don't help them. They just baby them too much. So maybe I'm sure that transfers over to a lot of people, and I can think of somebody off the top of my head.
I think we all can.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of us, but I know I'm with you there. I can think of at least one or two people as well.
Yeah, it's not healthy. It's an enabler. That's what it is.
Yeah. Is that the word you're looking for?
I guess
Go with your thought, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to
You're enabling someone's fucking... So we need to come up with a word for the people that want to be taken care of. What's a word for that?
Pathological.
You're enabling someone's pathological...
Pathology? Oh, that's funny.
We need something more derogatory, though.
I'll leave you up to that one.
I'll come up with something.
I always joke with everyone, but I mean it seriously, and I don't think this is totally how I feel about it, but this is what's helping me right now. Is like I went to undergrad and got my bachelor's in psychology, my master's in counseling. Okay, counseling is kind of a branch off psychology, but like I think what kind of helps me is like and helps me understand my point in my life and my profession is that like I'm in the business of positivity. At least I tell myself that. Because I think that counseling and psychology do a lot of the same stuff. I'm speaking very broadly here because there's so many different divisions of psychology, but I'm glad I went counseling route because I think the psych part is the negative pathological part and the counseling is the rebuilding positive part. I don't know what that had to do with the conversation at the moment.
Wait, say that again. The counseling is what?
I think the counseling is the uplifting, rebuilding, positive side of it. Or like instead of being psychology is kind of really pathological.
So the psychologists are more like the partner that is enabling the person, and then the counseling is more someone trying to get someone back on their feet that actually wants it. Maybe.
I could see that. I don't want, knowing because I have such a strong affiliation with the psychology field, like I don't want to agree with that because I don't think that's what it is, but I think it makes sense what you're saying. Like to some extent.
Sure.
I think when your example was, I want to find the word for that, my mind just doesn't work like that anymore. Maybe if I stuck with psychology, I might have been able to operationally define you said more derogatory term to describe?
Something like that, yeah.
And
I wanted it to be more of an insult.
Gotcha. You want to be more of an insult, whereas counseling, we're not looking for insults. We're looking for like...
Yeah. No, I actually do want to help people, but I'm also a jackass. No, I genuinely do want to help people. That's why I wanted to find these things. I want to get people out of this. But I think what people are looking for is love. And some people find it by having someone else take care of them. So they spend the rest of their life trying to recreate that. You know what I mean? That's how I think people get into that like spousal or significant other where one of them just takes care of the other one. And I guess maybe potentially somebody could find somebody else who the way that love was presented to them is them taking care of someone that's sick.
No, my silence wasn't because I didn't understand your question. I think it kind of rocked me a little bit because I think we keep going back to this question, like, what do I want to believe in? I want to believe in that there aren't people out there like that, but there are.
Oh, there totally are. I want to believe that we can cure that. Yeah. And I don't know if we can or not. Maybe we can.
You're right. Maybe I'm in the business again of wanting to believe that we can. Because
I feel like we could. I don't know if we know how to right now, but I want to figure that shit out.
Yeah, because there's a list of ramifications from an individual. Even if there's one person who wants to be taken care of, and there's another person who wants to take care of people.
Like perfect scenario, they say they find each other.
Yeah, they find each other, and this is their form of love, and this is how they decide that they want to embark on it. Well, my initial you talk about instinct, initial intuition that we were talking about before. It says, first off, you're going to continue to create that dysfunction. Your kids are probably going to follow some level of that. Their kids are going to do that. So first off, you're setting in motion, if this hasn't been already something that's existed for centuries, like
Echoes.
for generations before. Yeah, the echoes again. Yeah, that's my first thought.
We need a word for that condition. How can we define that condition? That's actually been one of my goals lately. I want to...
Can I blow your mind?
Yes.
I mean, maybe I won't. It's just called intergenerational dysfunction.
Okay.
At least that's what counseling and family therapy describes it as.
I like that. I like that term.
Yeah.
But I want a term for specifically what I just described.
Okay.
Of somebody that's looking for love through
being taken care of.
Taking the role of the sick child.
Shit, I don't know.
That needs a word and a diagnosis, because that would be the first step to really curing that. And maybe somebody's like 30 steps ahead of us. I don't know, but I just.
Usually they are. I've come to find. I've used to be like, I don't remember. This is a silly example, but I remember being like maybe 8 or 9 and being in the car with my mom. Like my mom used to babysit a lot of people during the daytime, and she'd work night times when I was really young. And we were in the car with a bunch of people she was babysitting, and I was like, I just want to hear this part of the song. And then she says something, and she's like, I'm like, oh, you know what? You know what they should do is they should make CD players where you can fast forward to the part of the song you want. I'm like, that's what it is. I'm going to make that. And my mom looked at me and had to crush my little 8-year-old dreams and tell me that already existed. But you're right. I think it'd be interesting to look up to what is there a word for someone wanting to be taken care of?
There could be. There could be.
In a relationship. I'm going to spend some time. It'll be my goal on my lunch break, maybe at work the next week.
That'd be dope. Let me know what you find.
Yeah,
we'll amend this. We'll add it in next conversation or whatever.
Cool.
But there's something there, and I think that I actually suffered from it, and I think I changed my attitude and came out of it, and I don't know how. I think I had role models that were these like neurotic little pussy fucking.
Say more. I'm listening.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
And I just somehow looked up to that and thought that was the way to be, and maybe that's how I would find love somehow. And I failed constantly through that, and yeah.
Well, you make a good point, because I can see, like,
I can empathize with these fucking people.
I mean, I can empathize somewhat too. It sucks. I don't know so much about like what the role I wanted to fulfill. I think it was I think I wanted to fulfill the role of like, I'm the man, I can take care of things, you know, like I'm going to quote a friend here because it's a silly comment, but it's a total not appropriate comment. This captures it well of how I think maybe my role models, or some of my role models, was explain to me how to be a man in a relationship, and it's sit in the truck, daddy's got it. Okay, that's the kind of like,
God.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think that's.
Do you still feel that way?
No.
Okay.
So that's my point. Is I can relate to you in that I think I grew out of that. Mm-hmm. How much without jumping too much into it, we'll think about this for another time. How much have you and I grown out of that? And how much of it was intuition, how much of it was ingrained in us, and how much of it's been rooted into us, whereas like how
deep is it?
How deep is it? If maybe we right now believe we are actually out of it, and it's because we have been working out of it, and we've been able to visually and introspectively view our progress. But I think it's probably like however long it took to create this dysfunction is it going to take at least that long to destroy it.
I don't think it necessarily will.
Yeah?
But it could.
I like that attitude, though.
Yeah. I don't think there's an algorithm for it. I don't think there's a timeline that's, a baseline thing. There's not like a ETA on it of any kind. I don't know how the fuck I got out of the because I was like the opposite. I was like I just want someone to take care of me. Like I'm incompetent. I'm so not like that now, and I know that I feel like I'm so fucking past it,
It's dope.
And no, it's awesome, and I'm glad. I don't know how it fucking happened, though. I guess I just changed my role models or something. but it's